Hey guys, the Firebird is here. It's just me, and yesterday I was just scrolling through the TFW 2005 website, seeing if there are any new things to report, to talk about, or seeing what's up. Like you do in every lonely Thursday evening. Anyways, so while I was doing that, I found this new images of Mirage from Rise of the Beast. I closer look at his vehicle, and I was like, oh cool, I just want to get a closer look at him. And then I did the mistake of scrolling through the comments. Now, if you know anything about the website, you know you don't go to the comments. It's kind of a hellhole in there. I mean, there's plenty more wrong with the website. If you watch my exposed video, the link's gonna be in the description down below, of a certain person who hangs around there. But besides that, I go to the comments and I see tons of people freaking out. And now, to be fair, this isn't a new thing. This is something that has been going on for quite a bit ever since Rise of the Beast started shooting. And that is that people have this, well, some people like ironically call this guy Jazz, just because, oh yeah, he kinda looks like Jazz, hey look, it's Jazz. So people are like, oh my god, this is terrible, they ruined Mirage, he looks like Jazz. And I seen this happen a lot in the website and sometimes on YouTube. People, ironically mistake this guy for Jazz, or like some people like passionately, and I mean passionately, despise the fact that this guy is, a similar-ish looking vehicle to the one Jazz was in 2007. I even seen some complaints about B and Optimus Prime, though to a much lesser extent. Mirage here is the one who gets pretty much all the hate, and when I think of that, I can't help but think that those people are kinda hypocrites. As you may have guessed by the title of this video and, the tone, this is kind of a rant video on the people ranting about about Mirage, if that makes any sense. Because, I mean, the Transformers community is, called a lot of things. Like, sometimes people are like, can never agree on anything, or sometimes like, we're too divided, or we just like, don't consider other people true fans if they like a certain thing in the franchise that others don't. For example, I may like Beast Machines. Like, I think it's not as good as Beast Wars, but just me saying that is gonna get some people triggered or want them to, put my head on a plate. People may like the Warfare Cybertron trilogy, unironically, and if they do, that's completely fine. I see tons of people who go to my comment section and be like, hey Fire, I actually kinda like this series. That was good, and if you do that, that's fine. But people often tend to, react very negatively to new things. And this is a problem with the fandom, and to be honest, it's not entirely, the fandom's fault. I think it's also Hasbro's fault for always changing that formula drastically. It wasn't until the end of Transformers The Last Night in which Hasbro said, okay, listen guys, we need to cut on all of these versions of Optimus Prime looking completely different from one another. We need to stick to one look and, make it consistent. And that's why Optimus Prime, ever since the B movie, has looked more G1-ish. Not entirely so, but you can tell that he has that G1 influence. For the movies, it looks like they're gonna go with that same route for the most part. I mean, RC turns into a motorcycle, and Mirage is not like his race car from G1. And that's another thing I want to talk about. This isn't even his final form. For you see, it got stated, when Rise of the Beast was first announced, that this Mirage is gonna have multiple vehicle modes. Think of it like Hot Rod from The Last Night. He started as this, old black car, and then turned into his more upgraded Lamborghini, robot/vehicle mode. The same thing's gonna happen here with Mirage. So people who are saying, oh, they ruined Mirage, he looks nothing like in G1. Well, he might still look like G1, and even if he doesn't end up looking like his G1 counterpart, I don't think that's a bad thing. And if Rise of the Beast has done anything so far, is that there has been, I wouldn't say an extreme split between the people who like the OG, Bayverse movies that are like, yeah, I want Optimus Prime with his flames on, and I want to see these wild designs. And the more, I want to say conservative faction that's like, oh yeah, the B movie was a step in the right direction. I want to see more G1 stuff. I don't want any Bayverse stuff. And there has been this divide between, the people who grew up with the movies and the people who, grew up with everything else, who might like the BB aesthetic more than the Bayverse one. Which honestly, I'm kind of in that camp, but I'm not against seeing new interpretations of certain characters. What's funny is that the same people who rant about Mirage looking like Jazz and they say that the movie is ruined, the character is ruined, are the same people who have no problems with Ironhide. Now, let me tell you a little story, because this is something that a lot of younger fans might not know. But Ironhide used to be really hated. especially during the first movie. Not that he did anything bad per se, but leading up to the movie, a lot of G1 fans, a lot of like OG fans, basically went online and stated their grievances, saying that, oh, Ironhide looks like Trailbreaker. I get the movie a 4 out of 10. Really bad, cause Trailbreaker is playing Ironhide. And yeah, it's the same thing that happened, and you could even say that this happened again with Blitzwing looking like Starscream. This is something that happens all the time. Characters often don't end up looking the same as they did in the original G1 counterparts or even other movie counterparts. In this case, people are upset that this is not Jazz, because, you know, I mean, the vehicle mode is the same brand as Jazz's, so you'll imagine that this will be Jazz. So Babers fans are upset this is not the character they wanted, and G1 fans are upset that this is not the car they wanted. So there's like this weird hate towards Mirage, and honestly, going back to my Ironhide example, Ironhide is one of those characters that I will see people who like G1, the OG stuff, and you know, the newer, younger fans who grew up with the B movies. Both sides say, yeah, Ironhide in the movies was pretty cool, even though he doesn't look like, you know, G1 Ironhide. And that's kind of what I want to stress with this video, is that, sure, this may not, you know, look like the Mirage from G1, or it might not be Jazz, as some of you guys might prefer this to be Jazz for understandable reasons. Some Transformers artists have actually like made a couple of renders as to how this Mirage will look like, and by looking at what they came up with, you can be like, they should probably be Mirage if they do end up going that route. But much like characters like Ironhide, Ratchet, Sideswipe especially, this Sideswipe looks nothing like this Sideswipe, and he's one of the most beloved and more, you know, fan favorite Transformers out there. Same thing with Barricade, or even Nitro Suits, very popular Decepticons that a lot of people do like, even though they didn't do much in the movie, arguably. What I'm saying here is that people should give this Mirage a chance. We haven't even seen the robot mode, and people are already complaining that, oh man, they ruined the character. This could be an Ironhide scenario where Mirage, you know, by us looking at him during the movie and, you know, his actions and the way he looks and talks, we could be like, oh yeah, this Mirage, he's really cool, I really like him a lot. Instead, for the most part, we already have people, you know, preemptively judging, and to be fair, and already saying the movie's gonna be bad. But honestly, I don't mind that they changed Mirage. Like, I really don't, because I feel like if we stay with the same look over and over again, it's gonna get boring. At least the movie Bumblebee changed a couple of times from the first to third movie. In the fourth and fifth movie, they went an entirely different route, which honestly I didn't like. The fifth one was okay, but Age of Extinction Bumblebee was a huge no-no for me. So them like constantly changing like the way characters look, but still keeping them recognizable enough, like the Babers, like the BB Optimus Prime, I think that's a step in the right direction. I don't mind them changing vehicle modes. I mean, this Mirage, for all intents and purposes, at least still has the G1 colors. So honestly, I don't really mind that much. I just wish that people would just stop blindly hating on this Mirage, even though we haven't seen the final design, much less the personality. And to be honest, the reason why I wanted to do this video is because I see a lot of those people complaining, and some of them are Babers fans who are upset that this is not Jazz, and some of them are G1 fans who are like upset that this is not like a one-for-one note of the G1 character. But you know, Transformers having cars that are around the same brand makes sense. We had those before, like Jolt, Bumblebee. They both were Chevrolets, and that's not even including the twins. And for G1 fans who don't like the design, I remind you again, but we're gonna get multiple vehicle modes for Mirage. This is not gonna be his final look. Maybe later down the film, he's gonna scan a new race car vehicle mode and he's gonna use it to look more G1-ish, which I definitely do think that's the route they're gonna go with. If they don't, and this is like his final look, I'm like, okay, fine. You know, it's like whatever, new look, new whatever. Let's give it a chance, see how he plays out on the film and stuff like that. For now, I've been seeing a lot of hypocrisy in the fandom, because what's funny is that a lot of those guys who complain about Mirage's look are the same type of people who also don't have a problem with Ironhide looking like Trailbreaker. No, I'm not even kidding. Like, if you take out the Ironhide name and everything that we know and seen this Ironhide design doing the movies, at a first glance you will assume this is Trailbreaker. And it's only because of me growing up with the movies that I associate the name Ironhide with this, you know, character more than the G1 one. So it's all a matter of perspective here, to be honest. That's not to say that everyone is like up in arms about Jazz. Some people like just, you know, like to take the piss out of it, like the Raging Nation. I still watch his videos, I watch them from time to time, because unlike me who covers the big news about the movies, he oftentimes covers the small things, like every little details that comes out about the movies. I only kind of talk about the movies if there's something interesting to discuss or if there's something kind of major to talk about. And he occasionally calls, Mirage jazz. And that's because he's just used to, this vehicle mode being like jazz. So it's hard to let go of things. And that's, to be honest, I think that expands not to just movie fans, but to almost all Transformers fans. Because Hasbro has this really annoying, tendency to change things around. Now at least they're trying to keep things more consistent, but back in the day, you could have Megatron be a tank in one continuity and then him being a jet or a gun or whatever, even a helicopter. Now it's like Megatron is almost unanimously a tank in almost all the continuities, at least the recent ones. But let me know what you guys think. Do you guys have a problem personally with Mirage? I've seen a lot of people, especially on the DFW.5 website, which again, I should probably start going to the comment section, because even people there admit like, yeah, the good place is it's a good place to hang out and find out about the news, but if you go to the comment section, it's best to stay away from there. But it's not just in that place, it's also all around YouTube, the comment section of all the Transformers YouTubers, where I've seen a lot of people just hate, with capital words, Mirage, just look here, without even having seen the run mode or giving this guy a chance. So yeah, I just wanted to do a little video of, ranting, complaining about it, calling out the hypocrisy. Because sometimes, people get called out for this unjustifiably. This is one of those times I'm like, okay, yeah, calling people out for this, yeah, I think it's justified, because I think it's getting a bit out of hand. But what about you guys? Have you seen other people like just rage debate about why this Mirage sucks, even though they haven't even seen him? Do you agree that this version of Mirage is gonna pull a movie Ironhide, and despite not looking entirely like his G1 counterpart, he's still gonna become a memorable character? And are you willing to give this guy a chance? Let me know all about it in the comments down below, your thoughts on this guy and your thoughts on like how the community's been handling this. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one tomorrow, hopefully. Bye guys. Anyways guys, before we go, shout out to our amazing Patreons: True Blue 712, Stitch Productions, Stephanie Ballard, Christopher Prime, Predator King Hunter Plays, Mario Gordon, Allspark Studios, Scrub Lordo. Also shout out to our newest Patreon, Epic Knit, and to our even bigger Big Boss Patreon, Jordan the Great, who donated $100. And to our other even bigger boss Patreon, X23, who donated a amount of money. I'll leave you guys to wonder how much he did. Anyways, thank you guys for your donation, it's much appreciated. I need the money to be able to feed Squeaker, because Squeaker is a useless platypus who doesn't do much all day. So it falls to me and you. I tip my fedora in gratitude and toast in your honor. If you guys want to donate to my Patreon, links in the description down below. Some of these guys also do some YouTube content, so if you guys want to check them out, that will be much appreciated. Some of them do Transformer stuff, some of them do non-TF content if you're into that. But be sure to check them out, because you're guaranteed to find at least something cool that's to your liking in one of their channels. I even collab with some of them, Scrubler. But keep in mind that donating is optional, because freedom is the right of all sentient beings. By donating to my Patreon, you get quite a few rewards. You get to see some of my videos early, some of my more longer animated projects, you'll get to see some early sketches and even suggest some things if you want them to. You get to collab with me in some of my videos if you so choose, you just have to let me know. And you can request videos and suggest some video ideas. So yeah, it's a pretty good deal, but just remember, we don't force anyone. So yeah, thanks a lot guys.